Okay, so I provided you guys with uh, so okay. So I provided with you guys with this Cloverleaf training folder, and we have a folder called box examples in there. And in these folders, we have basically everything you need to set up the interface. So from the folder I provided, we'll just copy these. We'll go into the root folder of Cloverleaf. And in here, you will see box, and you can just paste it in here. So now we have all these sample boxes in our box folder. Now we can go into Cloverleaf into our box manager, open that up, and you'll see all these different boxes that I just provided. These all do different things. We got FTP get, put, I got a database write, HTTP. This is a database, inbound database to FTP. I got some more complex ADT charge interfaces. So basically what you want to do once you get to this screen and you want to check out one of the interfaces, we're going to right click and we're going to deploy this box. And you're free to just click next through here. This is going to set up your box. And the box is complete. So now we can go to our network monitor, which we have to relaunch. And now you see this interface that wasn't here before. And with the configurations and everything you need to just basically turn on, maybe change some port configuration and start sending. So this one you can see we have a database inbound. It's just a raw route to an SFTP. The only thing with this is we did have to add the file name to the metadata, which you should have that script with the box. So it comes with all the scripts and everything to just get a good example of that type of interface. Y'all are free to load these on your machine, maybe create another site that with some examples if you like.
So
Anybody having?
Daniel, how do you use these boxes in a day to day? I mean, I can't imagine you'd use them very often. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, basically this was just to provide you guys with some examples of some interfaces, and it's very convenient when moving everything from test to prod. There's so much that goes into different pieces that goes into the translate. You'll have the HL7 format could be changed, so you'd have to upload your variants, and you could definitely miss something just trying to manually move something from test to prod. So
Yeah,
I
that if
will, once we get an interface I'm ready to move, all you do is you come in the network configurator and you highlight the interfaces you want, and then you simply create box. You can name it, give it a location, and just next, next, next.
that's pretty straightforward. Yeah, this would make a lot of sense for us if our production and test environments were identical.
Yeah, oh, I totally get that. I'm fighting that good fight right now.
Yeah.
It's just, time goes on and things just never get fixed, and it's working, so we keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're more than welcome to load up any of these, deploy them. You can see the logic behind it. And this one's like more of a complex MDM. I believe we're turning like an MDM message into an ORU message into MDM on this one. In
So
which we run in.
are these boxes that you guys built, or were these some sort of
Mhm.
generic that came with it?
No, these are the ones I've created these for you guys so y'all could have some examples of it's just some different interfaces, some more complex than others. Let's see what this guy is. So here I have two interfaces going to one outbound interface for MDM. See, this is a PDF and this one's an ORU message, so they get a little hairy. So you can see though our message is pretty spelled out, I would say, just because transforming these OBX segments. See how we kind of just spell out the OBX segment to make the document from an results. So I'm literally spelling out, I'm making this document header almost. And then we come through and iterate through the whole message, and we're adding blank lines just so it looks nicer and everything. So this is a very sticky interface here.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of work.
Yeah, this is a good example though of just kind of building a message. You know, you can build any message from another message. I mean, you might involve querying or pulling stuff from other fields, but you can see here how we just totally created a document from a results message.
So is that in that example, are you just basically evaluating if it's a base 64 versus
Um,
a text-based document, or
Unfortunately, these are all text-based, so that's why we're kind of building these OBX segments.
so Cloverleaf can actually convert it into a PDF?
Not easily. This is being sent in as a text document in text. It's not being sent base 64. So I'm literally sending those text lines like you can see here.
Yeah. I just saw that in where you had to split off, one of them was labeled a PDF. I was just curious.
So we do have a PDF. We can read PDF, base encode it. But writing like text to PDF is very difficult. I wasn't really able to accomplish it consistently once it got into multiple pages. But here is just an example of reading a PDF, picking this guy up and sending it. So we're going to start with a UPOC. So we had to create some custom protocol for us to grab these scripts. So we got get space lab telemetry strips. So here we're just calling this UPOC, set date or package base 64, and basically here we're going to read the file name, which is not a great way of doing it, but we're getting our account number from the file name and getting a few the document name. We're getting a few things from the document name. The file name to for the HL7 message. So I read that in. We set it to some variables. We're checking. Make sure our visit number starts with 11. Simple on our end.
So do you write these tickle scripts yourself?
Oh yes, sir.
What was your background before this? Were you a developer? Or did you just
I
learn
was.
this?
Yeah, I was help desk. and then I worked at Outback Steakhouse.
You just learned this on your own?
Yeah, I had a pretty good team here. The guy
Yeah.
before me he was very helpful, but he kind of gave us like a 3-day notice and got out of here, so it's kind of sink or swim time. But you can
Yeah.
see here, like we're setting once we split it, we're getting the MRN date, and then once we get all the things from the file name, you can see where we plug it into the actual HL7 we're creating down here. And that's like the actual name I'm sending. That's how kind of crude this interface is. But once we set all the variables from the file name to get the patient data, you can see where we open the PDF and we translate it to binary. And then we read it in and encode it here.
It all makes sense when I'm looking at it like that, but to try to write it from scratch would be without
Yes.
somebody
Yeah,
that's done it before is difficult. So this is one of the things where we just don't have the skill set right now on our team to do this. I mean, it
and
makes
it's really
sense
just
looking at it.
it's,
I mean,
yeah, and it's just getting your base because at this point I'm just copying and pasting from all these scripts because I know what does what. Got
yeah.
a good base of scripts. I hardly have to write anything from scratch too much. But you can just see we base encode it here, set it to a variable, plop it in OBX5. So that's going to be a super long string. And let it know it's base 64 in a PDF. And then we send this on to the engine who loads that PDF into our document manager.
So is this the one that you said you couldn't get to work, or is this
Or
neg
the thing I couldn't get to work is making the text documents into a PDF. It's just with the margins and everything and the just too many variables in there to really consistently do multiple pages in Tickle. Now there's other programs that work pretty well, but the Tickle library is really, really tough.
So what type of file are you encoding here? Or is it
Or this would be base 64. So I would just send the base 64 right here in OBX5.
yeah, so are you taking a PDF and just encoding it to base 64 or something?
And then I'm
Gotcha.
creating a HL7 around it. Like these values, the count number and MRN, I got out the file name.
Okay, I see what you're saying here. So these PDF documents are somewhere out on a UNC share
hmm
path, and then I guess when they drop into that folder, there's something that monitors it and goes out and grabs it or something and encodes it and
Yeah,
sends it.
exactly. We just check the folder maybe every 30 seconds, see if there's anything out there, and which is all set up, right through here in
Okay.
our UPOC. We just read every 15 seconds just to make sure there's nothing out there.
That was the piece I was missing. Okay, so now it all makes sense.
hmm Yeah. So and then we just build that HL7 around it so we can stick a PDF in there, and yeah, and then we send it on, and then it's decoded on the other side, and we're able to view it in our document manager. And you have access to all these boxes, so more.
So for the folks on our team, we don't really need that, although it's really cool that it can do it because most of
hmm
the documents we're receiving, PDF reports that we're receiving are coming from the electronic medical record, which is one content. And
hmm
one content will already encode it for us before it even gets to Cloverleaf. So we realistically would probably never need that, but it's cool that it can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know. You definitely this wild, crazy world of data and things are always changing, and people always ask you need to manipulate something for them. So it's definitely good to have in your back pocket. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's deploy this complex ADT and see what we have here. Let's see what we get on time. Yeah, I kind of wanted to go through the document I made for you guys. Oh. And you might have some conflicts just with other scripts we're uploading. They're mostly going to be all the same. So here we have, let's see what's so complex about this. And I'll give you just a helpful hint. To me, this is the best way of launching that translator you're working on to make sure you're working on the right one. Because once you get, a bunch of translators in one folder and working on a few of them, maybe one for test and stuff, I don't know. I bit myself in the butt doing that, working on the
Yeah.
wrong translator.
Me and Shahid talked about that exact same topic because he was going to the full to full listing of all the scripts, and I was like, well, I don't do it that way because you could make a mistake. So we
For
both
sure.
agreed that do it the way you did is the right way to do it.
And that's just, you always know you're on the right one for that
Yeah.
thread. So here we just have an ADT. It's doing a lot. It's suppressing on these values. We're turning if it equals if it's a merge message that's an A45 or an A34, we're making it A34. So that shows you how you can just change the message type really freely. Honestly, you can just put an if statement, and if this doesn't match, make it an A08, or if this doesn't match, make it a merge message A34. But yeah, this is pretty standard. It's just got a bunch of little scripts and little procedures. Are y'all using these pre-procedures and post procs?
Yes, sometimes it's already in the X-Lite,
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what we struggle to actually determine what does it do.
Okay.
So
So
the previous person who worked on the engine, it was already inserted for us.
yeah, I get that.
Hmm.
Especially now trying to migrate Cloverleaf, I'm having to figure out what it does before I can even tell it what to do.
Yes.
um, if you have some examples of some that you don't understand, I'm more than happy to look at them, and I could probably tell you quickly what they do mean or what it's trying to accomplish there. But yeah,
Okay.
this is very helpful in manipulating the data before you maybe pass it to a variable or even into a script or pre-procedure.
Mhm.
And you actually can call these scripts from. You can call an exhalate like this one. Exhalate trim zip to 5. So we're gonna look in our script editor. Let's see. That might have been on. Sorry, 1 second. I want to get example. Mhm. So here, I added this into our MDM feed to our 3M360 application. So we're having an issue with a lot of documents missing mappings. People are creating documents, and we have a mapping table we have to map them to. So I built this filter 360 MDM. We open up script, and you go down to the XLT filter. So from here, using these values, I'm using the doc type, the account number, and the event time. And I'm sending all these arguments into our Xlate pre-procedure. So this is the pre-proc we're sending all those in. And here you can see the 3 arguments, the doc type, the visit number, and the date. And that's how we assign it to these variables in the Xlate. Now that we have that, we're free to use these variables. And here we're doing a table lookup where all our 3M360 documents live. And we're using the 3M doc type that we pulled from the translate. And then we're setting this. I made a kill one, which kills any document we don't want to go to. So if it's not in the kill or the send script, we're gonna, or yeah, if they both equal do not send, we're gonna kill it. And then if they equal anything else, we set this path, and I open up file and I write these 2 things to the file so the user knows that she checks this file periodically and knows will send me back some feedback on which ones to map and which ones to map to the kill. So we're always capturing anything that's not either killed or sent. But that's how you can call these Xlates off, write your own script and call in these arguments into this script, and you output the result.
So are you actually, from that, are you adding new document types to that table, or?
Oh yeah, constantly. So here's our 2 tables.
So rather than them having to submit to you, I need this new document type added, you just, they look at that folder and say, oh, well, these failed. We need to get them added, or
And then I'll map them and we'll resend all the ones that were missing because the count numbers in there with the doc type and the date. So we will just resend those or map them and resend. And it's kind of been really good to capturing all these missing document types that aren't, so we can get paid for everything. So here's our send. We'll call this the send mapping table. These are the ones that will be sent. And then here's what I call my kill table. These are ones we never want sent to 3M. So we're not capturing those same ones over and over to not send, So if they don't meet both of these criteria, we write to the file. If they're not in either of these tables, we'll write to that file so the user can let us know whether to send or kill.
That's pretty handy.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's really been helpful on that front. Like now I just get a little email instead of people asking me constantly if they need to map something, or I'll just capture it and we'll worry about it later and resend if we need to. But yeah, this is I just want to show y'all the box so y'all could pull up and maybe look through these, and if y'all had any questions, there's different examples. Here's a charge thread where you take one charge and split it into multiple HL7 messages for each FT1 segment. You get a charge message with a bunch of charges in it, but you only want to send one charge per message. So we split these guys up and send them as a separate HL7. So we have our lab one, which is an FTP pickup. And it's kind of like this one. We're just picking up the file and running through our translate. You see here we had to map all the columns. And here we're going from the fixed record layout to an HL7. You can see as we begin to build, we got the order date, we pulled the order date, doing some formatting to the date. We have a counter that we keep. We just add one. Just a local counter as our our control ID. You can see we just do a lot of formatting. But here's a good example of picking up a CSV file or something and converting it to HL7. And then we have I think a straight HL7 to HL7. We iterate through everything, and for each FT1 segment, we are sending a whole message. Imagine y'all will run into a few things like this with the CSV segments. But here's another good example for you guys. And you can, apply this theory to any message type. It doesn't matter. That's DFT, just how a, CSV to ADT would work or anything like that. All right. You guys have any questions?
I don't think so.
This is
It made sense to me.
quite interesting.
Yeah, and I did provide just a little cheat sheet with what I can add to this as I come by stuff. I can send y'all an updated one, especially with these little tickle help. But this is all just pretty much in our documentation. This is little tickle commands. This is how you control the engine. You can restart processes and everything. I broke it down. Sites, processes, threads. Explain creating a new site, new thread. Create a new process. Kind of explain the net config options. We create our routes. You can use the ID if you need to. If we need to do some special routing, I can send you an example of that also. Here's where we'll set our translator in the route. Just kind of just organizing. I don't know how you guys do it on your site, but we kind of get one inbound and we'll just break it up into these jumper threads and send them to different places in Cloverleaf to kind of organize.
Yeah, ours look very similar.
Yeah, it seems to be a good way of doing that. And we just got some new routes. Kind of try to explain to translate the variants, different actions. Translating data, you think I did a little couple YouTube videos if they'll pull up. So yeah, it's just basic translations. I got some more videos towards the end for you guys. Just to kind of explaining the pre-procs and calling the script or using tickle in there. How to use variables into X8. The UPOC, how we went over that where we picked up the PDFs. I got you an example here of us getting the vaccination file names. Just kind of what we go through. Explain the transaction ID. And here's how I explained the XLA in the mess in the pre-proc. Got y'all a example. How we assign, this is assigns the variables. Xlate in vals and out vals. That's how you'll send the variable or the values from the translate into a pre-proc. That's how we'll get the variables in and out or values in and out of the procedures. Did a table lookup. Can explain, we can either use original value or default value. Neither are met. Here I explain the advanced database lookup, which is a lookup. It's newer version to Cloverleaf. It's basically you can run database queries using the database lookup. Makes it really easy to just plop down in the middle of a translate if you need a name or an account number or something. Make this bigger. You can see we have a table. We called our table we needed. We provided the account value argument, which imagine it takes an account number and provides us with a financial class. And this is the actual lookup table. You see we selected our database, SQL statement, in account number, which you click here and it'll have it populated, and out financial class.
So that SQL statement, did you write that statement out?
I think this one was here before.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, that's a pretty simple one. I have a good amount of experience with SQL scripts, so I'll be able to help our team with that.
Yeah, and that's probably where I struggled the most. Just digging around databases.
Yes, the thing is knowing the tables names,
Absolutely. Just where the heck this information is.
Yes.
If I had a map, I'd be doing a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you see how you can just pass your arguments in. It runs the SQL and you get your argument out and it brings it back to the translate where you can set it to a variable or set it right to the HL7 message. Here we set it to a variable because we do some checks on it. You have a SQL and stored procedure. This little configure button will bring up your stored procedures, your tables in your database, but it's kind of slow. It is pretty handy though if getting the syntax right for stored procedures. Yeah. So
And what version of Cloverleaf are you on?
I think we're on 20.1.
Oh, okay.
So we went from 6 to 20.1 maybe 2 years
Wow.
ago. And that was a big jump. We had all kinds of new
Mhm.
toys. Yeah, this will just kind of go through configuring the actual table to you got to enclose your variable with these brackets to let the table know that it's a variable. Once you surround it in the brackets and click this little button right here, it'll bring up this screen where you'll see your variable and your column in there where you can select it. This is how we like to organize the translate. It's pretty nice. We've had some that aren't organized like this, and it's just a page of code. It looks like if MSH equals MSH, which it will always equal MSH. That's how we just organize it, just to let you know that this is the MSH segment and this is the MSH values, and we can close that if we're not working on that.
Mhm.
It keeps us organized and everything. It's easier to debug and troubleshoot things. Here, can I just explain converting from one message type to another? It's really not much to it. This is probably more than you need to do, honestly. It's as simple as like setting the MSH9 to what event type or event trigger you want. You just got to make sure your required fields are there for your receiving system. And that's really the only thing you need to worry about. Here I kind of go through building the VRL so we can accept the flat files and turn them into HL7. Set our variable or set the columns. You have optional. We don't really use a lot of these options with the VRL, seeing that they're variable record layout. This is where we start crosswalking all the data and querying for anything we may be missing. Testing tool. It's pretty nice to have this testing tool in Cloverleaf because I don't have this in Mirth and it's a pain in the butt. So, imagine you open these in YouTube and make them bigger. So here I'm just going through the testing tool. Okay. Well, yeah, so you can just launch it, but here I just take you through a process of using the testing tool. Site tool, there it goes. And I really don't use a debugger. I've never really needed it, I guess. I've just used this testing tool. I run my message and I see the outcome I want. And you have the options to, break it down line by line. It'll give you the option to use the names so you know exactly what HL segment you're dealing with. Get some resending from SMAT. Sending messages from a file. And then these are just, I guess you guys are still dealing with SMAT files.
Yeah, we are.
And this is kind of just on resending those. Had to joggle my memory. But yeah, got you a little video on that. We can waste too much time. Here's just what's kind of the issue most of the time with like a process not starting. And this kind of takes you through the steps of seeing the error and finding the error whenever a process won't start, or just get some connectivity issues. Yeah, those videos will take you through that. Is there any questions you guys have, or anything maybe I could provide y'all that could, now that y'all kind of see, now we're all kind of on the same page?
Daniel, I have just one question. Can we test the proc?
Absolutely. You do have the option to test your procedures. Show y'all that real quick. So we can test our database schemas. We can test the protocols if y'all write one, like the one we did for the first one I showed y'all.
Mhm.
Test the variants of HL7, JSON. So routes is you'll test a route. So if there are 10 translators coming out of there, it's going to test all 10 translators and show you the results for the route from one location to the next. That's really helpful. And TPS is where you would come in here and grab the proc you were wanting to test. GitLab. And then we have VRL, and then of course your XL8. This is where your translators will be tested. This is only showing you the translation. So if there's like a pre-proc or post-proc, the best way to do it is route. So because it'll take the whole route. So if there's a pre-procedure, post-procedure, it's going to show you from one end to the other instead of just the XL8, which is just what you see, in here. But yeah, absolutely able to test that. And honestly, the best, sad as that, Tickle's kind of tough to test. It's very old. Very so honestly, setting a bunch of echo commands is mostly how I kind of find the issue. Little breakpoints with echo commands. Not the greatest way, but it's definitely works. Yeah, as far as that, you guys think of anything I could provide that maybe would help, or maybe if we looked at your system and scheduled a call with some questions y'all may have?
Yes, I think we'll on the next call, if there's any questions that the team would like to know, we can send it to you before we have our next training session.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah, and
just
if you can make them more, more like specific questions, I guess would be helpful. Like where I could maybe drill down, because yeah, it's everything's kind of a different scenario with this stuff. So
yes.
but yeah, if y'all have, anything regarding a tickle command or something with your interface, you guys would like to walk through next time, or anything I could maybe make a video on for you guys, I'm more than happy to help.
Yes, that will be helpful. Thank you. But you're going to send us this updated document, training document that you've done, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we can just
uh,
go through that.
Do you guys have you guys don't have any of this documentation?
We have some of those scripts that you sent
Okay.
and some
I'll
of
send
the
you all
documents. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just resend everything then.
Did you add to that training document?
I don't think so. But maybe. This depends when we've been working out of a shared folder, so she may have sent it a little early. I'll resend it just to be sure.
Okay, thank you.
But so what issues are you guys kind of finding yourselves in? Like yeah, what kind of scenarios are kind of troubling you guys?
I think mostly the team wanted to understand those tickle scripts, you
Mhm.
know, how to write them, how to read them, you know, and
Yeah.
myself, because we don't know anything.
Yeah, and it's a very basic command language. I mean, I Google a lot, I think, just to kind of figure out what all this is.
Mhm.
But luckily, Tickle's pretty simple compared to these other guys.
Yes, most of the logic we add in the Xlate, and from the other threads that we see, there's coding that was already inserted, like the tickle scripts and the pre-procs or post-procs.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, so the pre-procs, you can have them here. Post-proc, you can have them here. And then there is, if you double click on the Xlate, you do have a spot in here for
Mhm.
pre-procs.
Yes.
And those will get you sometimes. You won't know something's in there. But yeah, if we can, I'll send this out to everyone on the meeting. And yeah, if you guys want to come up with like some more specific scenarios, maybe you're having trouble with, or you're more than free to email me if you're like having trouble figuring out some tickle or something. I'm more than happy to help.
Okay, thank you. That will help.
Thank
I
you.
don't know from
Yeah.
the rest of the team if you want to know anything from Daniel while he's on the line. Shahid, Lewis,
And I'm good, Prema.
Suraj.
I'll make
Okay.
sure, yeah, if anything is there, I'll just email him and let me gather some more doubts or questions which I have and take it forward in the next call, probably.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
Sounds good. And if I can, if y'all just ask me if you have any questions, I can, I'm sure I can make a video or something kind of explaining things. Finally got my own
Okay,
YouTube page.
Oh, what's the other page name, by the way?
All right, I made it private. I was just putting them in those documents.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, let me look at that. Maybe I can just share it out to you guys.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So YouTube, and then we have documentation. All right, guys. Yeah, if y'all don't have any more questions today, we can do another call. And yeah, I'm sure now that y'all kind of see everything that you can get some info together, and I'm more than happy to help.
That sounds good, Daniel. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, guys. Well, y'all have a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank
Thanks.
you. If you don't mind, if you'll
Thank
stop
you.
that, if you'll stop that recording and then maybe just don't expire it,
Okay.
so that we can, so that it doesn't expire, basically.
All righty.
All right.
Stop
Thank you,
this.
sir.
All right, you guys have a good day.
All right. You
Thank
too.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Daniel.
you.
Bye. Bye.